Welcome to the second hand. My name is Kachiri, and tonight, I'm going to be talking about the watches that inspired me to want to start the watch repair journey. Cue intro. It doesn't feel organic. I guess I should start out with my husband's Seiko GMT. This is a pretty special watch. He had been saving up for a little while for it. Once he got it, he likes changing out the straps a bunch. Like he has a bunch of NATOs and he would switch them out. And he thought he might want to try and switch out the bezel insert to a timing bezel instead of GMT bezel. So he found a couple ways to do it, a couple suggestions online, and he ended up putting it into a solvent to try and get it off, and it actually ate away the gasket. And then he tried turning the bezel and it was very loose. It just pretty much swing. So we live in a very small town and there's no watch repair stores or watchmakers near us at all. The closest one is an hour and 20 minutes away. So we drove there and we gave it to this watchmaker and he said that he could do it. A couple weeks go by and we didn't hear anything from him, so I gave him a call and he told us to come in another week, and so we did. And my husband went in to go pick it up and I could tell right away he was really upset. What this guy did is he took off the bezel and scratched it up on the inside. Claimed he didn't do it, that he didn't touch it at all, but like it was scratched up on the inside of the bezel insert, and my husband never succeeded in taking off the bezel insert, so that was like, you can't really deny it. But then he also put in a new gasket and the thing was so stiff it wouldn't turn at all. So that was really disappointing. That kind of got me thinking that I would like to be able to do this on my own. I would like to be able to learn watch repair, even more simple stuff like this, like changing crystals and bezel inserts and stuff. A little while later, I started watching Wristwatch Revival, and I was like, well, that's really cool. At first, it literally gave me anxiety watching it be taken apart, and I was like, oh my God, like, how is he gonna get all these pieces back together? That seems impossible. But then I started watching it more and more, and as many people do, I took a liking to it. I was on this website and I was bidding for a lot of watches. Like, the photos weren't super clear of what was in it, but it looked like a bunch of vintage watches, which I really started finding like a bigger passion for. And I knew that there was a possibility that, probably a lot of them were gonna be broken. And I got it in, and yeah, maybe one watch actually worked from it, and there was probably like 25 watches in this lot. One of those was this beautiful Rodania. It doesn't have a crown, it's not working, and that watch is the one that really started me thinking about mechanical watch repair. And I threw it around in my mind for a while, like, what if I could do this? I was looking for a vintage Timex and I found one in another lot of watches. In this lot, I was surprised to find this beautiful Vulcan that was just in there. Mind you, these Timexes were not in good shape, but this Vulcan was a surprise, and a very good surprise. And it runs fast. It runs pretty fast. It would be nice to service it eventually. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything with finding a Vulcan in a pile of Timexes that I paid $9 for plus shipping. That was pretty awesome. A few months later, I was hunting for a Hamilton piping rock. I wasn't really expecting to find one, but I really do prefer like white gold or rose gold over gold. My husband has a piping rock, a gold quartz piping rock, that I had surprised him with a few years ago. I think it's a really beautiful watch. I mean, it's a beautiful classic, and I wanted to see if I could find a white gold one. And I found a vintage, brand new, in the box, piping rock that was Yankees edition, 18 karat white gold, the electroplated. It was like $500, and I still feel like that's not a bad price, and it was listed as a quartz. And then so, you know, I pressed the like button, and a week goes by, and she sends out an offer for this thing for $250. So with taxes, fees, and shipping, it turned out to be $300, just under $300. And I was like, yes. Like, yes, yes, yes. It came to, like, there's pictures of the original box and everything, and I was just like, I gotta do it. Like, I can't not do it. So I went and purchased it, and I messaged her, and I was like, thank you so much. Like, my husband has the same kind, like yellow gold. I am so excited for this. She doesn't respond to that, which is okay. Like, I don't expect like every seller to respond, but I just wanted to share my excitement with her. About a week goes by, and I'm at work, and my husband knows that this watch is gonna be arriving soon. So he calls me, and he was just like, your watch arrived. He's like, do you want me to open it for you? And I was like, yes, yes, go ahead. Like, open up, check it out, send me a picture. You know, I was so excited. She had labeled it as never worn before, and it showed a picture of the box. I get another phone call from him a little while later, and he's like, yeah, it's not new. And I was like, it's supposed to be new. And he was like, well, it's damaged, so it's not new, but it's not horrible. So I was just like, okay, that's weird. Like, what about the box? Because I think having an old box I thought was really neat. Like, it had the original price tag on it and everything. It was a beautiful box, and it didn't have the box with it. So I messaged the lady, and I was like, hi, like, I thought that it was gonna come with the box that was in the pictures. She's like, it doesn't say that in the description. That makes sense, but why would you have pictures of the box but not include the box? I was like, and also, it's not new, it does have damage on it. And then she said, well, I've never worn it. And it was in pristine condition when I packed it up, and I even took a video of it. At this point, this lady was like lying to me, because it was packed inside of a box, inside of a bunch of styrofoam, inside of another box. And so it didn't, like, it wasn't damaged in shipping at all. I get home and I open up the case back, because I want to see if at least, like, if I can put a new battery in there, and if it works, it's okay. Like, I'm still excited about this watch. Even though the seller was being dishonest, I was really excited about the watch. And it was not a quartz watch. It was a mechanical watch, and it was not working. So I was pretty disappointed. I dreamt that, you know, maybe I could fix it, but that dream seemed like it was really far off, and I knew that taking it in to get it repaired somewhere would make the total cost like a lot more than what I was hoping to spend at that time. I reached out to the lady, and I was like, I think I would like to do a return, because I wasn't about to drive to that watch repair guy again. Ultimately, she didn't ever respond to me when I told her that it was a mechanical watch that was not working, and that I wanted to do a return. She just completely ghosted me after that. So I reached out to Macari and asked to do a refund. So 3 weeks later, and I finally send this thing off. And I'm like, phew, like, I guess that's done with. And then it came back to me like 3 weeks later. And I was just like, a little scared at this point. I was like, is she like refusing the return? And then so I reached out to Macari Support, since I was not getting anything from her. She was not responding to me at all. And they're like, okay, we'll reinitiate the return. Just like, we'll reach out to her to confirm her return label. A few more days go by, I hear nothing. And then I reach out to support, and I'm like, anything, like, I feel uncomfortable keeping someone else's watch. And then they're like, we can't get in contact with the seller. And I was like, okay. I was like, should we wait a little bit longer? And then they're like, yep, let's wait a little bit longer, and we'll get in contact with you again. Another week goes by, and I reach out to support again. And I'm like, I feel really uncomfortable keeping this person's watch. I was like, what should I do? And then they're like, the case is closed, keep the watch. And that right there, because I was so lucky and I got to keep this watch for free, mind you, I already got the return for it, what if I could get into watch repair? So I started collecting things for like very slowly. I started collecting, you know, screwdrivers here, tweezers here, you know, eyeglasses here, all kinds of things, very slowly collecting and kind of trying to encourage myself at the same time because I feel like it's a big thing to jump into. Along the way, I tried doing a lot of research on, you know, the cleaning products and stuff and how to use it, and it all felt really overwhelming. And during that time, of course, I was hunting for more vintage watches, but instead of being disappointed this time when I got a broken watch in, I was looking at it more as an opportunity and something that I could work on. So I've always really wanted a really old military trench watch, and I found two, and I am so excited to work on them. Like, I opened the case back of this one. It had so many dates of the past few years that it had been serviced, which makes me wonder actually, because there is, I think, a date for 1942, 1943, 1944, 1948. And I'm like, did someone really love this watch and want to make sure that it was running optimal to where they serviced it every year? Or was there something really wrong with this watch and they kept having to bring it back? And I'm almost done here. Sorry for my little rant. Next is this Seiko. I believe it's a Seiko. It's really difficult to see the name on it because it's very patina. That is the reason why I like this watch. I don't particularly think that it's probably a very expensive watch or very desirable, but that is something that I love about some of these vintage pieces. Like, of course, there's always going to be the brands and the ones that everyone knows about. But there's something, I don't want to say romantic, but almost romantic for me about those watches that had died during the watch crisis, that no one really knows about, that are just these really neat old vintage pieces. And I'm not saying that's really for Seiko, but I haven't really heard of that brand. I'm sure some of you have. But I think that the patina on this dial is so beautiful. And I would like to work on that piece, hopefully someday as well. My last one, and probably the least entertaining for a lot of you, is this ladies' Elgin. And it looks like it was probably a pocket watch and it was turned into a wristwatch. I love this watch. I think it is so beautiful. It's just like elegant. Like, I don't always wear women's watches. I do mostly have a preference for men's vintage watches. I do have my Tissot. This is my daily because where I work, I can't be wearing a vintage watch. I deal with a lot of water and I need something a little bit more durable. But for the most part, I do like men's vintage watches. Besides this style of ladies' watches, they're so beautiful. I have a white 18 karat gold Elgin that's a lot like it. And I found it in this lot of estate jewelry, and it was hidden in a box. And inside the box, it had this little note, and it said, "This is the watch I wear when I go out to balls." And I'm like, this lady cherished this watch, and she only wore it when she went out on special occasions, and it still runs, and it does not run bad. So she loved this watch and she took really good care of it. And it's one of my favorite watches. So I want to get this one running because I think it's so pretty. And I love the rose gold. I have this in very big selection of a bunch of vintage watches that I have collected that I want to eventually work on, hopefully. And a lot of them are missing their crowns. And a lot of them have probably very huge degrees of brokenness. And they're all pieces that I would like to try and get to eventually, or at least most of them. And I'm not going to wear all these pieces. I just know I'm not. So I would like eventually on this channel, when I can start servicing watches well enough, I would love to start doing giveaways. So that's exciting for me. I'm really excited to try and do that. Share my love of watches. I hope you enjoyed me ranting about my journey to want to start watch repair. The watches that inspired it and the things that happened along the way. And, you know, if it wasn't for that guy messing up my husband's Seiko, I probably wouldn't have thought about wanting to fix it. If it wasn't for getting this surprise Vulcan in a pile of Timexes and it runs too fast, I might have not wanted to work on watches. If I didn't get this Hamilton piping rock that is a mechanical that does not work instead of a quartz watch, I might have not been doing this. So yeah, I think that that's kind of neat how all the pieces came together. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to say and I'm gonna be mad at myself because I'm not gonna say it. I hope that this was an enjoyable video and I hope to be able to get enough practice in over however long it takes me to practice in order for me to eventually get to these wonderful pieces. So if you are interested in following me along on my journey, I would love it if you would like and subscribe and follow me along on my journey. Watch repair. Some videos might be a simple cleaning. Who knows? Just to channel all things watches.
So cute.
Yeah, you think so. Other people are just gonna be like, idiot. Ta-ta for now.
Oh my god.
What? You can't say that.
I liked it.
Ta-ta for now?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going well.